1.2 day 2 homework, transformations, one of your favorite things. This is number 2. We're supposed to draw g of x being negative f sub negative 1/2 of x plus 2 plus 3. And the big thing on these is just knowing order. Like, that's the big deal. The order that you follow is Bahak. So let's identify our letters. Line up with A, F's of x minus B, I'm tired still here, x minus h plus k. Alright, so B is negative 1/2. What does that mean you do? That is a horizontal, it's inside, compression. And it's actually going to make it twice as wide, okay? We don't multiply the x values by negative 1/2, we do the opposite. Well, we stick with a negative, but we multiply the x values by negative 2. Interesting. Let's see, so we're actually doing it's also a horizontal reflection. Looks like h is negative 2, so that's going to be a shift left 2. K is 3. That's a shift up 3. And you'll notice that there is no a value. A just stays 1. It's understood. A is an understood 1. That's why I didn't talk about it. Understood to be 1. Nothing changes. So let's do this. We're going to multiply our x values by negative 2. If you take a negative 4 and you multiply it by negative 2, you'd be at 8. If you take a negative 2 and multiply it by 2, you'd be at 4. Take a 0 and multiply it by 2, you'd be at 0. If you take a 4 and multiply it by negative 2, you'd be at negative 8. Which is over here, right there. Now, it has been reflected. Okay, so your slanty is now on the right, and the part of the square root is on the left. All right, that was B. Now we talk about H. Shift left 2. Good thing is I left just enough room to do this. K is 3. Shift up 3. There you go. This is actually what's called a piecewise function. It had a part of a square root in it, it had a slanted line, and it had a horizontal line. 3 different pieces. Describe the transformations necessary to transform the graph of f of x into that of g of x. So, I noticed a couple of things here. I see that a is 3, and I see that h is negative 1. So it's as simple as a vertical stretch, factor equal to 3, and then we have shift left 1. That's not hard. Transform the given function as described and write the resulting function as equation. You're supposed to compress horizontally by a factor of 2. To compress horizontally by a factor of 2, you literally have BB2. Whole numbers do opposite. Like, it doesn't stretch it horizontally, it compresses it. And then translate left 3 units. So it's telling me that h is positive 3. Yeah, h is negative 3. Now, this is a rational function. We would write it out like this. We would put a up top, a over x minus h plus k. And I forgot to put the b in there. Let me rewrite this. You would have a over parentheses b times x minus h plus k. That's how they would be written. No change in a. So just a 1 over. B is going to be 2. And then we're going to shift it left 3. So we actually need a plus 3 inside because we take away negative 3. And let's just do that just to make sure it all stays together. And there you go. Although that extra set of parentheses was not required. Ta-da! Alright. 8 to compress vertically by a factor of 3. So look at their wording here. To compress vertically by a factor of 3. That means A is a third. Reflect across the x-axis. B is -1. Oh, hold on, reflect across the x-axis. That's vertical. So A is also negative. Translate right 2 units. H is going to be 2. And translate down 3 units. K is -3. That's really how hard this is. We'll call it g of x. So we have a -1/3 out front, square root, no mention of b in that text, x minus 2, because that would be right 2, and then take away 3 at the end. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's see, write g of x, the dashed line, in terms of f of x, the solid line. So these are the mom functions. That's going to be what, x cubed? The initial slope has changed quite a bit. Look at that. It's changed a lot. I would say that the slope is probably a quarter. We've also shifted down 1. That's for certain. We shifted down 1. It's definitely wider. Okay. Let's do this the only way we should do it. Alright, let's go ahead and do some equations writing. What do we know? We know that we have shifted down 1. I know that the point 2, 0 is on the graph. So everywhere I see an x, I'm a 2, and everywhere I see a y, I'm a 0. A is 1. No, A is, A is an unknown. This is going to give me h and k. So 2 zeros on the graph. Let's plug in a 2 for x. H is 0. And the k value is what? -1? Alright, cool. We can just do algebra. We add 1 to both sides. 1 is 2a, divide by 2, and a is a half. See, I was going to think it was a quarter. But it's a half by algebra. And there's your equation. So that was kind of interesting what I did there. I did a lot of stuff there that I hadn't really talked about yet, didn't I? Let's see. That's just going to be x and then -1. There was no shift left or right. That's what it looks like. Let me do another one of these, see if I can make sense. Like, I'll do number 9. The reason I had to do all that is I wasn't exactly sure about what the a value was. What I know so far, if I look at this thing, is that there is an a value, okay? I know it's a square root function. It's also negative, so I know the a value is negative. It's negative a square roots of x, not -2, plus 2. And the task here is to figure out what the a value is. So what we do is we find some points that we know are on the graph. We're 100% sure those points exist on the graph. I am pretty confident that 1, -3 exists on the graph. And that's going to give me an x and a y, so I'm going to plug them in. Y is -3 when x is 1. Ugh, that's horrible. Is there a better pair? The reason I'm saying that's horrible is I'm about to get square root of 3. That is an absolutely atrocious value. Too far. Oh, it's atrocious. Let's see if this one works out any better. It's going to be 6, -5. Still bad, isn't it? There's not a single good point on this thing. So anyways, let's just go through with something atrocious. The creator of this problem, which was not me, did not spend some time doing this thing worth a darn. We'll just have to use that one. That's at 1, -3, and we're going to have an ugly looking answer. We're going to go back and use substitution. We're going to let y be -3 when x is 1. Now 1 plus 2 is a root of 3. This is why I said this thing is ugly. -3 equals -a roots of 3. We can divide out the negativity. 3 equals a roots of 3. The opposite of multiplication is division. And we end up with this ugly thing. And I say this every year, like your teachers taught you how to make that thing look pretty. You multiply the numerator and denominator by whatever the radical is, and you get 3 roots 3 over 3, which is just hideous. So I don't believe that the author of this question did an extremely good job with it. We have a negative symbol, 3 roots of 3 over 3, square root of x plus 2. And I just don't like that problem. The author probably intended it to be something like -2, which makes a lot more sense. But it's not doing it. It's not following 2 and running 1. It's doing something else. So I'm not sure what the author had intended. I'm not going to do 10 or 11. You guys can figure those out. I guess I probably should do 11. You guys have not been asked to memorize this one just yet, but this is y equals 1 over x. And it's really simple what has happened. It's just been shifted left and then shifted up. So if we're going to shift left, we're going to actually add to the inside. So by x, we're going to add 1 because it's been shifted left 1. And it's been shifted up plus 2 on the outside. So you only have to do number 12, which is absolute value. 13, 14, identify the parent function, write an equation for the given function. This one's actually pretty simple. You'll notice that the initial slope is just opposite. Like mom is y equals x cubed. And y equals x cubed would look something like that. So I can tell you that a is -1, because instead of rising 1 or running 1, we're falling 1 running 1. So that's kind of nice. And all we've also done, and there has been a reflection obviously, and we've also shifted down 3, so k is -3. So this function, which we'll call g of x, is simply -x cubed minus 3. There you go. So that's close to half that homework assignment done for you. I would do more, but I still got a headache. I hadn't completely recovered yet. Anyways, there you go, kids.